All right, listen, I still got a lot of reviews to get through, so we're on to the next review, I guess. Welcome to my Impact Wrestling review. A lot of stuff to say on this show. A lot of things. Listen, I have not seen Emergence yet, and I will see Emergence when I get the chance because I do want to see what happened on that show. So I did try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. But with this show on Impact tonight being big, especially with the return of Christian Cage as the new Impact World Champion, what was he going to say tonight on this show? As we did kick off the show, they showed him win the title last week on Rampage, and whatnot. Basically, we did kick off the show with Gia Miller and Josh Matthews, who were in the ring. I guess they're about to bring out Christian, but before they could even get any further, next thing you know, Eddie Edwards and W. Morrissey start brawling with each other to the outside. All the way to the ring and whatnot. Sammy Callahan came out with his bat for the save then, and he started hitting Morrissey with it. And then throughout this little brawl, Eddie and Sammy had a little bit of a stare down for a second. Since they've been a rivalry before with the whole eye thing and whatnot, so they haven't forgot about their past. But they ended up knocking Morrissey out of the ring. Then security ended up holding back Morrissey as Eddie and Sammy were still in the ring. Sammy Callahan had gotten the microphone in, saying, we don't need to wait any longer. I want my match right now. So get those sons of bitches out here. We're ready to start the show. He welcomed everybody to the Impact Zone tonight, and that they were gonna tear shit up tonight, basically. So yeah. Crazy way to kick off the show. I will say that before they got to the intro. Not a bad opening. But we did get to a tag team match, though, between Chris Sabin and Sammy Callahan versus Ace Austin and Moose. All four of these men will be in a number one contender shot for the world title, on Emergence in a fatal four-way. A good tag match, though, to kick off the show. Sabin, though, ended up tagging himself in to get his cradle shock on Ace for the win and whatnot. As Sabin, after he tagged himself in, as I was trying to win, they both raised their hands, but Sammy Callahan ended up hitting Chris Sabin with a power driver in to take him down. So, like I said, not a bad opening, not a bad tag match. Also, pretty good and whatnot. I figured Ace was going to take the fall, just kind of given that it's, Ace Austin and whatnot, which they still need to kind of get on a higher level. But I figured he was going to be taking the pinfall here. But still, not a bad tag match, though, with Sabin and Callahan and all of them. The Good Brothers, which they did show footage from New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence from last Saturday, as the Good Brothers went against John Moxley and Yuji Nagata. They talked about how they love beating up John Moxley all the time. And then talk about the Gorillas of Destiny, God. Now, I know the Good Brothers, it says something on the microphone, but there was so many microphone issues on that New Japan show last Saturday. I did not hear them half the time. So I know God came out and did a big stare down with them. So looking for that tag match at some point. Whenever that's gonna happen. But other than the Good Brothers, they talked about their tag title match on Emergence coming up. Talk about having Monsters Ball, and that Gallows said he's going 1-on-1 with Joe Doring tonight. So we'll see two monsters gonna get in the ring and see what's gonna happen. Sammy Callahan talked about his match tomorrow night. So Eddie Edwards saying, like, listen, man, thanks for the help, but I didn't need your help, okay? So don't come help me again and whatnot. Callahan basically, was just kind of whatever and walked off after that because, like I said, he didn't want his help. Um, it's Matt Cardona. Wouldn't get Shira. Match was okay. It's not much great to say about Matt Cardona. Shira, I thought it wasn't bad. Shear's usually not good, especially from the long time he's been around and whatnot. I thought he did okay here. I figured Matt Cardona was going to get the win anyways. He won with the Rough Riders, so there you go. But every time I just look at Matt Cardona, it's Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. He's just got Chelsea Green this time. So yeah, I know they showed a flashback of Christian winning the NWA World Title back in 2006 from Jeff Jarrett when he was in TNA. Madison Rain and Johnny Swinger back with locker room talk. We haven't seen that in a while. Swinger running his illegal gambling, Swinger's Palace and whatnot at the time. But she introduced her guest, which was Caleb and Caleb. It's Dashwood and Caleb, which it looks like they just kind of shot this in the same room, but like in a pre-tape and whatnot, and put in the split screen. And talk about the match with Taylor Wilde coming up. Madison Rain said and she's been looking for a tag partner, Dashwood, and they're going to be influenced. They're influencers now, as Swinger said, hey man, it's like a one man gang poem and whatnot. Somebody would have written that. but Tennille basically said that, you know, we're influencers now. I got all these followers and whatnot, and we're gonna influence, okay? And then next, Caleb talked about he's gonna give Scott Moore a piece of his mind. As Swinger talked about him, yeah, you got to be about a guy from Team Canada, and Caleb called him a boomer, and then one talking about go wash Giant Baba's underwear or something like that, and I'm gonna delete you and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see where his team goes. But locker room talk, which at least they kind of brought that back because Tennille Dashwood's thing was not working for her show, so that wasn't working out well. Josh Alexander was in the back then talking about, for months, he wants to be the face of this company, and that Kenny Omega showed no respect towards Impact when he became the world champion, and that Christian is the world champion, who's a legend in this company. He says. And he brought the titles back, but that doesn't mean he's gonna be able to carry this company's banner into the future and whatnot. And he doesn't matter how big Jake something is, he's not concerned. Jake something showed up and basically said, "I'll give you something to be concerned about." Which you end up walking to Scott Moore and getting a match with Caleb Conley then later on in the night. But we did finally get the return of Christian Cage back in a TNA or Impact Wrestling ring, whatever you want to call it, which they say he's not been there in 9 years, apparently. The last time Christian really was in a TNA ring was that one little time they brought him back in 2012 when it was like TNA's 10-year anniversary and whatnot. I think that was the last time he brought him back because Christian left like in about '09 and ended up going to the whole WWE ECW thing and whatnot. So Christian came out, he got a big pop. It's instantly, the instant classic has returned. And he had the Impact World title and TNA title. He talked about a lot of nostalgia around here, standing back in the Impact Zone as world champion, the Impact World Champion. And even though he wrestles for AEW, he's proud to take the titles away from Omega. He's proud to bring the titles and bring them back home, back to Impact where it once was. And he brought these belts back. He talked about leaving the WWE in '05, and then and how taking a chance in the world and whatnot, and that Impact took a chance on him and let him wrestle in the big main events and whatnot. Which it's surreal, and he thanked Impact for everything they've done for him in the past. As Christian got a "You deserve it" chant, and it's not about his history anymore. He says, and it's about that time to finally retire the TNA title because this is about the future now. Okay, this Impact belt represents the future, and on this day forward, this title belt will be the biggest prize. The world title, it will be the biggest prize in this company. And that the TNA title will always be ingrained in memory and heralded into this company forever. Now, there's one thing I do want to say about this when it came to the TNA title and whatnot, which I don't think it should have been brought back to begin with. I've said that before. I don't even think Christian was ever TNA champion in general. He was the NWA, TNA champion and whatnot. But here's the thing, because Moose was the one that brought the belt back. But he was like, he kind of brought a defunct belt back and defended a title that was never really active until like a few months ago. They found out, oh, we'll unify the titles and make them into one, which it didn't make sense to hold two titles because, like, did they really need the TNA World Championship out there? I just didn't think that made a lot of sense out there. I'm glad, Christian, hey, we can always honor, respect it for, a lot of good it has done. I'm sure there's people going to say it's bad also at the same time, but, you know, you can still respect respect the history of of the belt and whatnot. Okay, so yeah, it's just best they shouldn't have brought it. It's just they shouldn't have brought the TNA title back. It's just focus on the Impact World title. We're trying. I've said this before. We're trying to leave the bad part of TNA behind. Okay, I know you want to focus. Still talk about the good parts of it and what it has done, but there's still a lot of bad behind it too. And there's a reason why for a while they tried to move away from the name TNA and just stick with Impact right now. And it's a different company and whatnot, and not what it once was back then. So Christian, he ended up having TNA belt to Dave Pinzer. Fans chanted TNA after that. And, before he could say anything else, Brian Myers came out, even kind of, feeling nostalgic, talk about Shark Boy, a round paper bag special with Don West and whatnot. But, he talked about he's been killing Impact ever since he got here. He's the most professional wrestler. He's going to take that belt away from Christian at Emergence and whatnot. But Christian says, I'm glad you finally escaped Matt Cardona's, shadow and whatnot. But, listen, I see what you've been doing here. And, Myers, you always complain about being held down, but let me teach you a lesson. You need to lose before you win. because you may be the most professional wrestler, but I'm the best professional wrestler around here. And the next you know, Myers got in his face. Beal tried to attack them, but Christian ended up taking him down after that, ending the segment. So Christian Cage, great promo. Was glad seeing him back in a TNA, well TNA if you want to call it, or just back in Impact in general. Christian was the shit in Impact, all right. And I've already had my here and there say about him becoming a champion. I'm not mad he's the champion at the same time, given the lineage he has with his company, and he was a very big name and a big main event star when he was in TNA before. But I just kind of felt like someone from Impact currently should have beat Omega for the title. Yes, like I know Christian is on contract with AEW, but like I said, he has a very long history. I'm glad they played into that and played clips and everything from Christian's past. So I'm cool with Christian being here. I'm glad he kind of got rid of the TNA title at the same time and focus on one belt. Okay, we're trying to move past that belt. Like Christian said, respect the lineage of it, but let's try to move on to the future. I know they promoted the NWA Empower and NWA 73 pay per view coming up. Hey, Ric Flair's gonna be there. I know they showed footage of Deonna Purrazzo and Fabio Apache back at AAA Mania or Triple Mania last Saturday, because now Deonna Purrazzo is the Reign of the Reigners champion, the AAA and whatnot, and still the Knockouts champion. So now she has two titles. Melina came out for a debut Impact match. I know she had talked to Trey Miguel in the back. She asked her, she's at the treehouse, and he asked her, can you still do the splits? And yes, Melina can still do the goddamn splits, and I'm sure everybody was happy to see that. She went against Brandy Lauren, which I believe was released from WWE recently. Apparently, she did work in Impact before, as Ava Story and whatnot. But yeah, Brandy Lauren, she was released from WWE. She didn't really do much in NXT. The only thing I kind of remember, she was kind of like a background person with Damian Priest in the hot tub, or around Dream, or Velveteen Dream, or I think around Brazango and whatnot. She was just there to kind of look hot most of the time. So yeah, I know she's on the contract, but I'm like, oh yeah, she was just from WWE and whatnot. Isn't this like the same Brandy Lauren? What, Jelly Nutella ended up losing to well, I think she's with Shotzi Blackheart now. So yeah, Nutella there, Janella must have been so bad. Somebody said that he turned her the other way, and he had that and lost it to Shotzi. So that kind of tells you something about him. Okay, just think about that. But yeah, Melina though ended up getting the win. Call it was her submission to California Sun. She called, or the Muda Lock and whatnot. For the win and everything. Deanna ended up attacking Melina after the match. Matthew Redwall, the Drama King himself, came out and kind of helped for a second. But Trey Miguel also made the save too, which him and Melina ended up standing tall in the ring. And after that, so good little debut for Melina. And everything, since she is going for that title at NWA Empower. So we'll see what goes along with that. John Skyler was in the back talking about his first big win in Impact, and he talked about it was shocking and everything what he had done. But before he could say any more, they showed Juice Robinson on the ground like he was attacked, and Dave Finlay was checking on him then. So I don't know what's going on with that. Jordynne Grace, they showed winning a powerlifting competition. Talk about Rachel Ellering and her family and others were there. Say she's going to move on to the national title. I don't know where that's supposed to be going with her powerlifting and whatnot. Jake Something winning against Caleb Conley, no DQ. Jake Something basically killed this guy, spearing him through the table. So boom, there you go. I think him and Josh Alexander were having a stare down. And after that, Su Young and Kimberly addressed her as mother, which they look like they had a lock of Kiera Hogan's hair, but she was not in this company anymore in AEW at this point. So that kind of tells you how they wrote her off and whatnot. But as we into the main event between Joe Doring and Doc Gallows. This was a brawl. Two big giants going at beating the hell out of each other. And that's what they did right here. Of course, Violent by Design and Carl Anderson were out there. But these guys beat the hell out of each other, even fight each other to the stage, with Gallows ended up hitting like the 12 steps of the Sky High through the stage. I like how somebody said in the crowd, who built this stage? And then the referees and the doctor had to check him in, which both it got up, and they made their way somehow back to the ring then. Him and Doring, which they kind of had a stare down in after that, as this match is going to continue. Doring charged at him. Gallows ended up kicking him off and was going to the top rope. It was about to jump on him, but Doring ended up hitting a big lariat in midair as he went off the top rope and whatnot, basically pinning him right there and getting the pinfall. As Doring basically, kind of got up selling effects and whatnot after falling off the stage and everything with Gallows and whatnot. So Joe Doring did get the win right here. But a very good match, especially with two giant guys, different pace, not no high speed action or whatnot from two big guys and everything. But a very good match of two of them beating the hell out of each other. So that was not bad. That was very enjoyable. But other than that, though, very, very good episode of Impact. Very big episode, especially with Christian Cage returning back to the Impact Zone as world champion now. That's a pretty big move and whatnot. So I was glad to see Christian back in Impact and as the champion again, since he hadn't been seen in so long. So I enjoyed that tonight, okay? So Impact, not a bad show. Not a bad show at all. But comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HoodNight90. Tell me what you think about this show for Impact tonight. Especially when Emergence coming up. I will watch that show, hopefully at the point in time, maybe tomorrow or two. So I do want to get to that show also. But other than that, though, that is my review of Impact. Tell me what you think about Christian Cage returning back to the Impact Zone as world champion. Anything else that did happen on Impact tonight, okay? So other than that, see you guys later. Peace. Hood Night 90, follow on Twitter. I already said that.